to inspire the audience to take an effective step towards transforming one's life. The speech is called The Art of Success, 3 Steps to Greatness. Kaushal Ayers, The Art of Success, 3 Steps to Greatness.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thanks for that fine introduction. That was exactly how I written it, so thank you. Good evening, Pacific Beach Toastmasters. How are we doing tonight? I would like you to say super, because there are 3 things that happen when you say super. Number 1, your physiology changes. Number 2, your energy levels go up. And number 3, you look 10 years younger. So let's try it again. How are we doing tonight? Yeah! I would like you to take a moment to look at the person sitting right next to you, shake their hand, look them right in the eye and say, I'm doing super tonight.
I'm doing super.
Raise your hand if you know any negative people. Don't point at me, we'll get back to that in a minute, but let me ask you another important question. Just out of curiosity, what do you think is the number one thing that gets in between people and the greatness?
Low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem. What else?
Fear.
Thinking.
Thinking. What else?
Bad attitude.
Bad attitude. Did you see the way she said it? Bad attitude.
Drinking.
You know really all the great answers. But the one thing that comes in between people and the greatness, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. So I came here to the United States almost 10 years ago with nothing but $500 in my pocket and a dream. See, how many of you here have a goal or a dream? I would like to do something in life. Come on. So when I landed here on September 25th, 1997, things didn't go as planned. I struggled quite a bit. I struggled quite a lot, actually. I was working 16 hours a day, going to school, trying to make ends meet. And I was like, just barely making it meet. You know, life was like a groundhog day. Every day was like just a vicious cycle. It just kept going on and on and on. My life was a real mess. And the only thing, my dreams had taken a backseat, and the only thing that was of any interest to me was Wallace Kramer and Costanza de la Jua in science for that night. Until one day, I met this wise old man named Socrates, and he shared 3 secrets of life, which totally transformed my life to today where I am. And I would like to share these 3 secrets, and my humble request tonight is that when you walk away from this session, I want you to use these skills to bring some transformation in your own life. So how would you like to have some transformation in your life tonight? Raise your hand. I would like you to take a moment now to think of an area of your life that is important to you and in your life. It could be examples, family, relationships, spirituality, finances, retirements, vacations, 401k, even sex, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's take a moment to look at an area of your life that's important to us. The first secret. It's not the outer world, but the inner world that determines your level of success. Let me repeat that again. It's not the outer world, but the inner world that determines your level of success. See, when I heard this for the first time, I was transported back in time when I was 9 years old. I was in school, and there was this beautiful girl named Lena. Lena was so beautiful. She had this dimpled cheeks, she had a nice ponytail. There was something magical about her. Every time her teacher would come in, she would make this wonderful gesture of a bow and, wish the teacher. There was something about her that was so special, I just fell in love with her. And I wanted to let her know how much I loved her, right? But I never had the courage to do that. But one day I decided I was going to do it. So I started strategizing and planning. See, I was 9 years old, I was still doing it back then. The next day I wake up, I'm wearing this nicely pressed uniform, my shoes are polished, my hair is parted nicely. And because of all the commotion that's going on in the kitchen, my mom walks in and says, "Honey, what are you doing?" I said, "Mom, I'm just preparing breakfast to get ready for school." They're like, "That's great, but it's only 4 a.m. So you can imagine how excited I was. I don't remember the rest of the morning, but I was waiting for the clock to strike noon. and it was taking forever. And finally, when the bell rang, I ran out of the classroom towards the cafeteria. I was like up the flight of stairs, and I was at the very top of the stairs. I tripped, and I came trembling down. And when I looked at myself, my white shirt was all soiled. There was a cut on my upper lip. I had a bruise on my right elbow, and I was bleeding. But I said no, I was going to go talk to Lena because I'd made up my mind I was going to tell her how much I loved her. So I go into the cafeteria, I grab my tray of food, I see Lena sitting with her friends in the corner of the room. I walk up to her, and I say, Lena, hi, can I sit with you? She looks at me and says, go away! I'm stunned. I drop my tray. There's a pin of silence, just like this. Everybody's looking at me. I was so embarrassed that in that moment, I made a decision that never again will I ever be embarrassed. I silently sentenced myself that I wasn't good enough. And I thought it had ended right there, but it did not. I took that story with me in my adulthood. It impacted my finances, it impacted my relationships, it impacted my spirituality, my family, everything. I was living this story of I wasn't good enough. Until one day I met Socrates, who made me realize that there was an incident that had happened, but I had created a story around it, and it was impacting my life. How many of you here have got your heart broken at some point in your life? What was the story you told yourself? See, people have these incidents in life, they create a story, and they go about life gathering evidence to support that story. And people who agree with that story become their best friends. See, when you realize that there was an incident and there was a story, these are two separate entities. Something that was before, which was determined, fixed, and given, no longer has to be that way. Situations which are challenging suddenly become fluid and open to change. You're no longer limited. You're no longer limited by a finite set of options. You start achieving your goals with new kind of ease and enjoyment. So what are some of the stories that you're telling yourself? What are some of the limitations that's holding you back? What's in the way? Secret number 2. Constant and never-ending improvement. See, the crux of this principle states that no matter where you are in your life, no matter how good you are, no matter what you do, there's always scope for improvement. Tiger Woods, right? He still has a coach who's looking for opportunities to improve his skills. This requires a constant commitment and dedication to constantly improve yourself, reinvent yourself, keep winning, keep improving. And there comes a time when you notice that you have grown for a period of time. But many people, they just quit at the first sign of obstacle. They did some research to find out that statistically, winners and quitters, they expend the same amount of energy. The winners just stick it out till the end. Imagine Edison, who failed 1,000 times while inventing the light bulb. What if he would have given up? Well, it would have been nice, would have been sitting with candlelight here, but hey. Or NASA, it took them 20 years to send a man on the moon. Imagine what would have happened if they had given up on the first attempt. So what are some of the constant and never-ending improvement steps we can take in our life? Secret number 3, the power of anticipation. In the 1960s, there was a company, an engineering company based out of Chicago. They manufactured carburetors, and they were the best in the business. They were coming out with product releases every year. They even got into a strategic tie with the big 3 auto manufacturers, GM, Ford, and Chrysler. And things were going great. The business was booming, the stock prices were going up, things were just great. But then one day,